Imagine waking up and checking a map of Earth, only to find that Florida is gone, major coastal cities are swallowed by the ocean, and the frozen white mass at the bottom of the world is green. That is the terrifying reality of a world without the Antarctic ice sheet. Here is the true scale of the ice. Antarctica holds a staggering 34 million cubic kilometers of fresh water. To visualize that volume, imagine taking an entire continent and burying it under a solid block of ice averaging 1.9 kilometers thick, taller than 4 Empire State Buildings. When we picture all that ice melting, it's tempting to think of an ice cube dropped in a warm glass of water, disappearing in minutes. But a continental ice sheet of this scale does not vanish overnight. Losing Antarctica is a slow, deeply complex process. It acts as a planetary trigger that initiates a violent reorganization of Earth's interconnected systems. That chain reaction starts underwater. Relatively warm ocean currents are currently creeping beneath the floating ice shelves that ring the continent, attacking and weakening the ice from below. These floating shelves act like massive structural buttresses. They hold back the colossal land-based glaciers sitting behind them. Once those floating shelves collapse, nothing stops the inland glaciers from accelerating and dumping billions of tons of land-based ice directly into the sea. If all of Antarctica's land-based ice makes that irreversible journey into the ocean, the global sea level will rise by approximately 60 meters, or nearly 200 feet. Water moving inland at that volume redraws the map of human civilization. The entire east coast of the United States, New York, Washington, D.C., Boston, disappears. In Northern Europe, cities built heavily on historic riverways, like London on the Thames, are swallowed entirely, with countries like the Netherlands and Denmark effectively wiped off the map. The most acute danger falls on densely populated, highly productive river deltas. The Ganges, Brahmaputra, and Bangladesh, the Mekong, the Nile. These are low-lying, crowded regions where hundreds of millions of people live just meters above the current waterline. The physical volume of this water completely erases the borders, economic hubs, and agricultural centers we rely on, forcing the largest human migration in history. Beyond the physical volume of water, a massive influx of fresh water triggers a systemic chemical reorganization of the entire global ocean. Dumping 34 million cubic kilometers of fresh water into the salty Southern Ocean violently alters the density of the water. This abstract map illustrates the thermohaline circulation, a vast global ocean conveyor belt driven by delicate differences in water temperature and salt density. When an enormous volume of less dense fresh water floods the system, it acts like a wrench in the gears, causing the deep ocean currents that transport heat and nutrients around the globe to stall out. As the ice vanishes, another planetary defense fails. The massive white expanse of Antarctica currently acts as a mirror, reflecting incoming solar radiation back into space. With the ice gone, darker ocean water and bare land absorb that heat instead, creating a runaway positive feedback loop where a warming planet accelerates its own heating. This sudden, massive injection of trapped heat, combined with the breakdown of stabilizing ocean currents, reorganizes the atmosphere. Moisture patterns shift violently, fueling hyper-destructive hurricanes across the swollen oceans and driving intense tornadoes deep into the inland territories that escaped the flooding. A completely melted Antarctica creates two distinct disasters. It drowns the coasts, and it turns the Earth's atmosphere and oceans into a volatile, hostile engine. That hostility hits the local environment first. Right now, the Antarctic ecosystem is highly specialized, built entirely around the extreme cold and the seasonal expansion and contraction of sea ice. Without that sea ice, tiny organisms called krill lose their crucial breeding grounds. Krill are the bedrock of the entire Southern Ocean food web. When they crash, the whales, seals, and penguins that rely on them face immediate starvation and a catastrophic loss of habitat. Given enough thousands of years, this frozen desert will warm and receive enough precipitation to support terrestrial life again. Grasses, shrubs, and eventually dense forests will spread across the newly exposed rocky valleys. The melting of the ice sheet completely eradicates one of the most uniquely adapted marine ecosystems on the planet. eventually replacing it with a terrestrial landscape we wouldn't even recognize. If there is any relief in this scenario, it is in the timeline. The total melting of Antarctica is a slow, grinding process that will unfold over centuries, requiring multi-generational displacement rather than overnight evacuation. But that slow timeline brings a creeping economic nightmare. Trillion-dollar ports, airports, and industrial centers will have to be gradually abandoned as saltwater steadily intrudes inland, contaminating vital freshwater aquifers and turning highly productive agricultural soil into barren, salty wasteland. The Earth itself has survived asteroid impacts, supervolcanoes, and drastic climate shifts, and humans are incredibly adaptable. We live in deserts, mountains, and ice fields. Biologically, our species will physically survive. But modern civilization is entirely different. Our globalized society relies heavily on highly calibrated, coastal-dependent supply chains. Attempting to relocate billions of people, rebuild our entire economic infrastructure, and secure new food sources would severely fracture our political systems under the immense strain. Every fraction of a degree of warming brings the waterline closer. The amount of ice we preserve depends entirely on our ability to limit warming in the present, a decision that dictates the literal map of our future.